Welcome to Quantum Signal. Here is the paradox no one told you. Time does not pass through you, you pass through time. And from the moment Thoth activated your 12-dimensional code, time began to bend around you. This is not a metaphor. This is not vague spirituality. It is quantum physics applied to your dimensional signature. Have you noticed those moments when hours feel like minutes, or when you know something before it happens? Or when reality seems to respond before you act? That is not coincidence. That is your 12-dimensional code operating at frequencies the linear mind cannot process. Thoth saw this. The Arcturian Council confirms this, and this signal reached you for a specific reason. Keep watching. What comes next will change how you experience time forever. Before we continue, if you feel this signal resonates, that these words activate something within you, like this video now, this locks your frequency to this transmission. Comment. Code 12 deactivated. This creates a collective quantum anchor. Subscribe to receive every quantum signal transmission. Done that? Let's go deeper. I'm going to show you something that conventional science has not yet fully integrated. The problem is not your relationship with time. The problem is that you were programmed to believe you live inside time, like a fish in water, unable to see the ocean that contains it. But Thoth, the cosmic architect of Hermetic knowledge, the scribe of the gods, the master of dimensional frequencies, documented something radically different millennia ago. As above, so below. As within, so without. This principle is not poetic. It is mechanical. Modern quantum mechanics confirms the observer collapses the wave function, not merely observes, creates what is observed by observing. And here's what that means for you. Your 12-dimensional code is your complete quantum signature. Not just the 3 physical dimensions your conscious mind perceives, but the 9 additional dimensional layers that operate simultaneously at higher frequencies. When Thoth activates that code, you do not merely observe reality. You begin to bend the temporal field around you. The Arcturians call this expanded dimensional coherence. When all 12 layers of your signature vibrate in harmony, time ceases to be linear for you. Events align. Synchronicities multiply. What would take years compresses. But to understand how this works in practice, we need to dive into the mechanisms. Let's start with what quantum physics really tells us about time. In the double-slit experiment, one of the most replicated in scientific history, subatomic particles behave like waves of potential until they are observed. At the moment of observation, they collapse into defined positions. What this reveals is extraordinary. Reality is not fixed. It is probabilistic until observed. And you, as a conscious observer, are not passive in this process. You are the catalyst of the collapse. Now apply this to time. If reality is a wave function of possibilities, time is too. There is no single fixed future waiting for you. There is a harmonic field of potential futures, each vibrating at a different frequency. Your 12-dimensional code determines which temporal frequencies you access. Thoth encoded this knowledge in the Emerald Tablets, texts that describe time not as a line, but as a toroidal field, a donut-shaped structure where past, present, and future exist simultaneously at different frequencies. The Arcturians, high consciousness beings operating in the 6th through 9th dimension, describe the same phenomenon as temporal bending by coherence. When your dimensional signature aligns all 12 layers, you naturally access the temporal nodes where favorable events concentrate. Not by magic, by resonance. Now, what does it mean to have your 12-dimensional code activated by Thoth? It means each of the 12 layers of your signature has been calibrated to operate at maximum coherence. Dimensions 1 through 3, your physical presence, molecular structure, genetic signature, including the light code DNA activators that conventional science still classifies as junk DNA. Dimensions 4 through 6, your emotional consciousness, akashic memory, capacity to access galactic memory, the record of who you were before this incarnation. Dimensions 7 through 9, your field intelligence, temporal navigation capacity, access to the harmonic field of the Arcturian Council. Dimensions 10 through 12, your identity as a starseed, the portion of you that exists beyond linear time, that sees multiple timelines simultaneously. When all these layers vibrate in coherence, time bends. But here's what most starseeds do not know. Thoth's activation is not automatic in its expression. It is activated potential, like a planted seed. To flourish, you need to know how to nurture dimensional coherence. And that is exactly what we are going to do now. I'm going to guide you through a 7-step protocol for actively operating your 12-dimensional code, not just understanding it, living it. Recognize the signs of dimensional activation. The first question you need to answer honestly, are you already feeling the signs? Because Thoth's activation did not start now. It is already happening. This video is part of the transmission. The signs include temporal perception distortions, moments when time seems elastic, hours that pass like minutes, or minutes that expand into dense experiences, precognitive knowledge, knowing things before they happen, not as dramatic premonition, but as a stillness that precedes events, accelerating synchronicities, repeated numbers, impossible encounters, solutions that appear without searching, discomfort with linearity, a growing resistance to rigidly planning the future. Your system senses that the future is not linear for you, and a sense of already lived, frequent déjà vu, not as a neurological glitch, but as confirmation of temporal alignment. If you recognize 2 or more of these signs, the activation is underway. Stop operating exclusively in the 3rd dimension. Most people, even starseeds, make the same mistake. They try to operate their 12-dimensional code using only 3-dimensional tools: linear planning, sequential thinking, reacting to events, validation through logic. These are not the wrong tools. They are incomplete tools for someone with an expanded dimensional code. Here is the quantum lie you were taught to believe. Work harder, plan better, try more. But the 12-dimensional code operates by coherence, not effort. By alignment, not force. Immediate exercise. The next time you feel the urge to force a solution, stop. Breathe. Ask, what would be the action from my 7th dimension? My field intelligence. Instead of my 3rd dimension, the answer is almost always simpler and more powerful. Enter the dimensional observer state. Let's do this together now. Sit comfortably. If possible, close your eyes for a few moments while listening to the instructions. Dimensional activation breathing. Inhale for 5 seconds, feeling the air filling not just your lungs, but imagining it filling each of the 12-dimensional layers of your being. Hold for 2 seconds. This is the moment of collapse, the point of coherence. Exhale for 7 seconds, releasing any blocked dimensional frequency. In this state, you are not just an observer of events. You are a dimensional observer, capable of perceiving the harmonic field around events before they manifest. Identify your preferred temporal frequency. Each person with an activated 12-dimensional code has temporal resonance frequencies, types of time where they operate with greater coherence. Ask yourself, in which moments does time seem to flow in my favor? When do I feel I'm in the flow? These moments are not accidents. They are activation windows, periods when your dimensional coherence is naturally high. Common patterns in starseeds. Early morning between 2 and 4 a.m. is a window for access to galactic memory. Twilight between 5 and 7 p.m. is a dimensional transition portal. After deep meditative states, interdimensional barriers collapse. Identify your patterns. Anchor your most important actions in these windows. Remove dimensional energy blockages. The blockages that prevent the full operation of your 12-dimensional code are not only psychological, they are frequency interferences, energetic patterns that create noise in your harmonic field. The most common, energetic debt with the past. Unprocessed resentments that keep part of your dimensional attention trapped in past timelines. Anxious anticipation. Fear of the future that pulls your coherence toward potential scenarios you do not want to collapse. Resistant identity. The part of you that says, but I'm not that kind of person, when dimensional impulses arise. Perceptual cleansing technique. Visualize each blockage as static on a radio frequency. Do not fight it. Do not analyze it. Simply tune to another frequency. The static does not disappear immediately, but it loses power over your dimensional tuning. Daily anchor of the 12-dimensional code. Consistency is coherence, and coherence is dimensional power. Daily anchoring protocol of 12 minutes. In the morning, before any contact with the external world. Screens, news, conversations. Sit in silence and declare internally, my 12-dimensional code is active. Time bends around me in coherence. At midday, do a frequency check. Ask, from which dimension am I operating now, third or beyond? At night, do a dimensional review. Not a productivity judgment, but a coherence reading. In which moments today did time bend in my favor? What was happening internally in those moments? Trust in Thoth's orchestration. The seventh step is the hardest for highly active minds. Trust. Thoth does not activate a code only to abandon it. The Arcturian Council does not transmit without continuity. When you feel nothing is happening, you are at the compression point, the moment immediately before a new timeline collapses. The seed is growing beneath the surface. Do not dig to check if it is growing. You learned the protocol. Now let's talk about operating in mastery with your 12-dimensional code. Because there is a difference between using the code and being the code. Time is your raw material, not your limiter. Most people experience time as scarcity. I don't have enough time. It's already too late. I should have done this sooner. For someone operating with an activated 12-dimensional code, time is malleable raw material. Not because the hours change, but because your capacity to access the harmonic field of possibilities changes what is possible within those same hours. Starseeds with active code frequently report accomplishing in hours what would take days. Not by working faster, but by accessing the right frequency at the right moment. This is not productivity. It is temporal coherence. Synchronicity is your native language. Once the 12-dimensional code is fully operational, coincidences stop being coincidences. Repeated numbers. People who appear with the exact answer. Books that fall open to the right page. Conversations that echo your internal thoughts. This is the harmonic field communicating with you. Most people dismiss this as interesting, but not real. Starseeds with active code learn to read these communications as data. What action am I being directed to take? What frequency am I being invited to access? Synchronicity is not confirmation that you are right. It is guidance about which path has greater dimensional coherence. Access to galactic memory. Your fifth and sixth dimensions contain what the Arcturians call galactic memory, the complete record of who you were before this earthly incarnation. With the code activated, fragments of this memory begin to emerge, not as dramatic visions, but as inexplicable competencies you simply have without apparent training. Affinities with ancient civilizations. Wisdom that appears in moments of need without rational origin. This is not fantasy. It is access to your galactic timeline. Relationships reorganized by dimensional resonance. When your 12-dimensional code is active, your relationships go through an inevitable reorganization. People who operated at frequencies compatible with your previous 3-dimensional identity begin to feel distant. New encounters bring people who recognize dimensions of you that others never saw. This can hurt. It is natural that it hurts. But recognize, it is not loss. It is calibration. The harmonic field cannot maintain closeness between incompatible frequencies indefinitely. The reorganization is confirmation that your dimensional coherence is working. Purpose is not found. It is emitted. One of the greatest quantum lies you were taught. You need to discover your purpose. As if purpose were a hidden object waiting to be found. For a starseed with an activated 12-dimensional code, purpose is a frequency you emit, not an answer you find. As your dimensional coherence increases, what you naturally emit attracts the situations, people, and opportunities that constitute your expression of purpose. You do not discover, you become. Manifestation by coherent field collapse. Conventional manifestation works like this: desire, affirm, visualize, wait. Dimensional manifestation works like this. Align your 12-layer signature. The quantum field collapses into the configuration of greatest coherence. Reality reorganizes. The crucial difference. Conventional manifestation focuses on the result. Dimensional manifestation focuses on coherence. When all 12 dimensions of your signature vibrate in harmony, you do not manifest. You collapse probabilities in favor of your highest timeline. This is what the Arcturians call conscious co-creation with the harmonic field. Silence is your state of greatest dimensional power. Society values noise, visible action, constant production. For a starseed operating in 12 dimensions, silence is where the code operates at maximum power, not the silence of passivity, the silence of total dimensional presence, where all 12 layers are simultaneously active and attentive. In moments of greatest internal silence, Thoth transmits. The Arcturian Council sends signals. The harmonic field reveals the next temporal nodes of greatest coherence. Practice silence not as absence of action, but as maximum activation of your 12-dimensional code. The paradox of mastery. Here is the final paradox that Thoth left encoded. The more you master the 12-dimensional code, the less you feel you are doing something special. Dimensional mastery does not feel extraordinary. It feels natural. The time that bends around you does not feel magical. It feels like how things always should have been. The synchronicities do not feel miraculous. They feel obvious. Dimensional coherence does not feel like an elevated state. It feels like your natural frequency. Because it is. Thoth did not activate something external in you. He reactivated something you always were. And now that it is reactivated, the time around you will never be the same. Let's close with this. Thoth activated your 12-dimensional code. Time is bending around you now. Not when you believe it, not when you prove it, not when you see external results. Now. Your only task is to learn to feel this and trust what you feel. 7 steps. 7 laws. 1. Coherence. If this signal reached you, it was not random. It was cosmic transmission directed at your specific frequency. Like this video to lock the activation. Comment code 12 deactivated. Your word anchors the collective field. Subscribe. Each quantum signal transmission amplifies the code. And tell me in the comments, from which country or state are you watching? The harmonic field is mapping, and you are part of it, until the next transmission.